I cut ties with my sister after she slept with my husband and told me to mind my own business. Years later, they begged me to take care of their son while she was recovering from an accident. I'm 36 and have been divorced for 3 years. My ex, Khalib, 36, cheated on me with my sister, Alisa, who's 32, while we were married. That's what destroyed our relationship. Khalib and I met through friends at a party when we were 25, and we started dating then. We were together for 3 years before he proposed. We got married. We were together for about 5 years before I found out he was cheating on me with my sister. Khalib and Alisa first met when I invited him over for dinner. This was about 6 or 7 months into our relationship. By then, we were serious and decided to introduce our families. I already knew his family, just his parents, since he has no siblings. My family is pretty big. Our oldest brother, Eric, is 40 now, and he's the only one I still keep in touch with, from the whole family. When I first brought Khalib home for dinner, everyone liked him, but he made the biggest impression on Alisa. They realized they had a lot in common: favorite TV shows, books, even tastes in food. They just clicked right away. I thought it was sweet, and I couldn't have imagined how things would turn out later. They became good friends, and I was happy that Khalib got along so well with my family. I also had a good relationship with Alisa back then, since we were closer in age than with Chris. Alisa and I, sometimes we went on double dates with our partners and had a great time. Back then, she was just having casual relationships and would bring a new guy to every date. She even joked that it was a shame Khalib didn't have a brother because she'd totally date him. Sometimes she'd say Khalib was the perfect man and how lucky I was. But I always took it as a compliment, never really reading into it. I was sure she was just praising Khalib. I didn't see any hint of anything else, because I trusted her completely, and I loved her. It never even crossed my mind that she could actually have feelings for him. When Khalib proposed to me, and then we got married, no one was happier than Alisa. They could have hurt me. I was sure of it. For 5 years, Khalib and I had a really calm and steady relationship. Sure, there were a couple of small disagreements. Like, he wanted kids, but I wasn't ready for that yet. Or he wanted me to work less, which wasn't possible since I made more money than him. Our lifestyle basically depended on my income. He felt I was too focused on my career and wanted me to chill out more. No matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't get him to understand that. We both just need to work hard to live steadily. For context, I'm an investment banker, and it's a really demanding job. Khalib works in marketing. He's good at what he does, but he's not as dedicated to it as I am to mine. I really love my job because it helps me chase my dreams. So why should I work less? As for why I didn't want kids, it's simple. I just wasn't mentally or emotionally ready to be a mom yet. And honestly, I think it's better not to have them at all if you're not ready. There's nothing wrong with doing something, especially when it comes to parenting. I was afraid to have a kid and then regret it. I made that clear from the very start of our relationship. But for some reason, he thought I'd change my mind right after the wedding. These two things were the main reasons we fought. Most of our serious arguments were about that. Like any couple, we had little fights too, but we always worked through them. Even when we had big fights in the end, we always made up because we believed in our relationship. Or at least, that's what I thought. Now I realize that maybe we were never really on the same page. But the thing is, no matter how much we fought, we always made up. He was always showing me love, even just a week before I found out he cheated. And I never had any reason to doubt his loyalty, because Calypso never gave me a reason. But a week after our 5-year wedding anniversary, I found out he was cheating on me with Alisa. Even on the day of our anniversary. He was so sweet to me at the party, acting like I meant the world to him. But everything changed suddenly when I found out the truth. A couple of days after our anniversary, I was digging through. He hid it at the very back of the wardrobe. Out of curiosity, I took it out and started looking inside. To my horror, I found it stuffed with women's clothes. After going through a few items, I realized I'd seen them before. They were Alice's clothes. I couldn't understand what was going on. I was totally shocked and confused. I had no logical explanation. So I decided to check his phone. For the first time ever, because until then I had completely trusted him, just like he trusted me. We never gave each other any reason not to. I had my suspicions, but at that moment, I just felt like I had to do it. Even if I'd just asked him about his clothes, he would have had time to come up with an excuse. So I went straight for it. I knew his phone password and checked his private messages. At first, the chat with Alisa seemed innocent, but when I scrolled up, I saw how they actually talked. Friends don't talk like that. They were flirting, exchanging intimate messages, and planning meetups. That explained all his late nights at work. I realized that the fling has probably been going on for a couple of months. And of all days, Alice came over for lunch that day, so they were both at my place at the same time. I confronted them face to face, showed them the messages and the bag of clothes I found in Caleb's closet, and demanded an explanation. Instead of apologizing or even trying to deny it, they just said it's none of my business and I shouldn't meddle in their relationship. I was shocked by their response. If my husband is cheating on me with my own sister, then it's definitely my business. Here's the deal. I lost it and yelled at both of them, but instead of reacting at all, they just acted like nothing happened. Caleb even had the nerve to tell me that since I'm not having his baby or spending enough time with him, which is especially hypocritical considering neither of us planned to give up the fancy lifestyle I was the one supporting, he had to look for other options. And he gets along great with Alisa. Alisa even said I should be grateful that he stayed with the family instead of cheating with someone else, because if he had, I would have been even more ashamed. They said they weren't going to end their affair. It was something to talk about. Those two didn't feel an ounce of guilt, and I definitely wasn't going to forgive them. I decided to file for divorce. When I told my parents everything, they immediately cut ties with Alisa. Eric also completely ended things with her. The whole family turned their backs on her, and strangely enough, no one really got hurt because of it. A couple of weeks later, Alisa moved to Pennsylvania. That's a 9-hour drive from here, and 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Caleb followed her. He didn't fight the divorce or file any countersuit. He left all the statements to me. I guess he figured that since he's now with Alisa, who got a promotion and a higher salary, he doesn't need to worry about money, my assets, or any potential divorce settlements. He just wanted to get everything over with quickly, and I'm glad it worked out that way. It allowed me to close that chapter fast. Since then, neither I nor anyone else in our family has been in touch with her. We don't know where she is or what she's up to, and we don't care. Those of my friends who are still following, anyone who knows her or talks to her, knows not to bring it up with me. In short, I have no idea what's going on in her life. It's been 3 years, but I'm still trying to pull myself together. They completely broke me. But a few days ago, it all came back up when Caleb reached out to me again. He called from an unknown number, and I answered without thinking much. The moment I heard his voice, I knew I should have hung up, but curiosity got the better of me. His voice sounded desperate and anxious, and he got straight to the point. Caleb called to ask me for help. Pretty bold, considering we hadn't spoken in 3 years and didn't exactly part on good terms. He could have at least started with an apology. But nope, he just dived right in. He said that a few weeks ago, Alisa was in a car accident and can't move around. Both her legs are broken, and her arms are all bruised from the crash. They also have a 2-year-old son who needs looking after. He explained that he'd already tried asking friends for help, but everyone was busy or didn't want to, taking on such a huge responsibility. He can't handle it on his own because now he has to work more since Alice is bedridden for a long time and needs care. Taking care of both the little kid and Alice at the same time is just too much for him. They even thought about hiring a full-time caregiver, but they can't afford it, considering the expensive neighborhood they live in. So, they turned to family. First, they called my parents, but they said they're too old now, although they mentioned that if they were younger, they would have helped. The ex-in-laws were out of the question too. The father-in-law passed away a year ago, and the mother-in-law lives in Canada with her sister. They also called Eric, but he said he didn't want anything to do with them. They didn't consider any other relatives close enough to trust with their son's care, especially in a situation like this. So, in desperation, Kalip literally begged me to help him. After all these years of holding back my pain and resentment, I finally had my moment to respond. When he told me everything, I just said I couldn't help because it's none of my business. Then I hung up and blocked his number. Didn't even bother getting into the details. Eric thinks I did the right thing, but my parents don't agree. They say it's been 3 years and I should have just forgotten about it, especially considering what Alice is going through now. I don't get what they're even talking about. They think I'm being stubborn because I refuse to help, but I think it's ridiculous that my parents expect that from me after everything Kalip and Alice did to me. Me. I feel sorry for the kid, honestly, but it's not my problem. My parents keep saying I'm a stubborn, selfish person, and that I should have at least thought it through before saying no. A few days have passed, and now they're starting to pressure me, making me question if I did the right thing. Update 1. Hey, first of all, thanks so much to everyone who commented on my post. I really appreciate you taking the time to write something. Now, they live a normal life, and nothing terrible would happen if they had to watch their grandson for a couple of months. I'm sure they could help, but they just don't want to. It's easier for them to dump it all on me. When I told my parents I wasn't changing my mind, they said they were cutting ties with me too, called me selfish, and said they couldn't believe I'd act like this, especially since Alice suffered so much. I don't see what's so unbelievable about it. These people have already betrayed me once. It's pretty simple. I feel like I'm not handling this the right way. I haven't talked it over with Eric yet, but I'm sure, as always, he'll be on my side. He's pretty swamped at work right now. He just took on a new project, so it'll be a few more days before we can have a proper chat. For now, I'm okay with the decision I've made. I don't know what's going to happen with Alice, Caleb, and their son. I really hope they figure something out, for the kids' sake. But that's not my problem. So, before we move on to the next update, let's just get straight to it. Right now, write in the comments whether you think the heroine of this story is doing the right thing, or if she should handle it differently and take the child in. What would you do in this situation? Maybe you believe that family really is the most important thing. Now, on to the update. Update number 2. Hey everyone. It's been a week and a half since Caleb tried to get in touch with me. Back then, I blocked him, and he hasn't bothered me since. But I heard from Eric that now he's trying really hard to reach out. He hasn't reached out to him. Even Alice messages him, but he just ignores all their texts and leaves them unread. A couple of days ago, Eric and I talked, And he said he decided to cut ties with our parents, too, because they're acting really unreasonable and selfish. It's ironic, since that's exactly what they're accusing me of. Well, serves them right. Honestly, now that they've lost Eric, they still have a chance to make things right with Alice. But I don't think they'll step up and take responsibility. It's unlikely because that's not how you give money. Eric was respectful about it and didn't bring it up again, not wanting to seem pushy. But honestly, they acted like jerks, so I'm not surprised at all that they're not helping their grandson again. I didn't expect anything different. I just hope that one day when Eric and Alisa decide to keep them away from their kids, the grandparents will understand that if they think their kids have no right to ask for help, then they don't have the right to demand to see their grandkids whenever they feel like it. But that's just my opinion, no matter how much I hate it. Alice, I still hope that everything will eventually work out for all of them. Update number 3. This one's going to be pretty long. It's been almost 2 months since I found out Alice was in an accident. She and Calypso haven't contacted me directly, but I keep talking with Eric, and he keeps me updated. I told him myself that I don't mind if he texts Alice back and answers her messages, because honestly, I've been feeling uneasy about the whole thing. Yeah, I don't like Alice, that's true. And Calypso too. I just can't stand it. But I'm not heartless enough to wish them any harm. Their 2-year-old son definitely isn't to blame for all the crap they've done in the past. That's why I asked Eric to stay in touch and help out if needed. Yeah, they're awful people, but that doesn't mean I have to stoop to their level. I've already gotten my moral satisfaction by refusing to help them. That's enough for me. So I went along with the idea of Eric keeping in contact with them, at least so I can have peace of mind knowing my nephew is okay. Honestly, that's the only thing that matters to me. 2 weeks ago, Eric finally got in touch with them and asked how things were going. Alice said everything was bad. They had to put their son in daycare because there was no other way, but it's killing their budget since the neighborhood they live in is expensive. They can't spend hours commuting back and forth every day. Kalibu has to work, and Alice can't do anything on her own now. On top of that, they've started falling way behind on rent, and this could have ended with them getting kicked out. They've never been like this before. I don't get why parents always act so suspicious and weird about money when it comes to their own kids, like we're some kind of thieves or scammers. But this time, when they refused to help, Alisa just snapped and said she was cutting ties with them for good and never wanted to talk to them again. And honestly, no matter how I feel about Khalib and Alisa, I think they did the right thing. Sure, they're toxic, but our parents aren't any better. It's crazy how from something like this, the families turned out to be pretty normal people, like me and Eric. So, bottom line, the parents definitely won't have access to their grandkids for a few more years. And they only have themselves to blame for that. Basically, they don't even have access to their own kids anymore. I don't talk to them. Eric stopped talking to them too, and now Alice has as well. They're all alone now, and I can't say they don't deserve it. I'm definitely not feeling sorry for them. Now about Alice and Caleb. Eric and I talked it over, and I told him I wouldn't mind. If he decides to help them, my conscience won't let me get in his way. Sorry, but I just can't be involved in this. I'm planning to stay out of it, but I won't stop others if they want to help. Eric also said he hasn't talked to Alisa yet because what she did to me was really low. But right now, it's hard for him to stay mad at her. No matter what, she's going through a really tough time. And as her older brother, he can't just sit back and watch his nephew suffer. He knows for sure Alice's son is really struggling emotionally with everything that's going on. We decided that Eric will send them money every month until they get back on their feet. Honestly, I'm glad he's doing it because I know when Eric was going through tough times, no one stood up for him. His parents didn't do anything at all, and even though Alice and I tried to help financially, we weren't in the best shape ourselves, unlike his parents, who are pretty well off. I'm not trying to sound like someone who thinks parents owe their kids everything, but still, they do. They really could have helped, but didn't. Even though Alice and I aren't some big philanthropists, we still tried. So now, it's probably only fair that Eric returns the favor and supports her, despite everything she did to me. My main concern has always been my nephew. Now that's settled, I can finally stop thinking about this whole mess. Honestly, I just don't want anything to do with either Alice or Calypso anymore. I genuinely feel sorry for what happened to them, but now, I just want to live peacefully from now on. I think this was the closure I needed. Even during the divorce, I didn't feel like it was truly over. But now, I do. From here on out, I'm going to focus on my work and my own life, better myself, and stop stressing about others. I don't have to deal with toxic people anymore. I've cut ties with my parents too, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm free, and I've got a lot to look forward to. Life's worth living, so I'll manage. Thanks a ton for following my story and supporting me.